Do you know that the Abraham Lincoln penny you probably have sitting in a jar somewhere could actually be worth a small fortune? I'm talking about the 1971 mint mark penny, which, if you're lucky enough to have the right one, could be worth up to $1.40 million. Now, I can already hear you saying, wait, what? A penny? $1 million? Yup, it's true. Stick around because I'm about to blow your mind with some valuable coin knowledge, and maybe just maybe, help you discover a hidden treasure in your own collection. But first, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips and strategies to turn your coins into cash. Let's dive in. We all know pennies, right? You've probably got a ton of them. They're like the last piece of candy in the jar. Nobody really wants them, but they keep piling up. But here's the thing. Not all pennies are created equal. Some of them are extremely rare, and not in the "I dropped it in the couch cushions" rare. We're talking about real, valuable pennies that could buy you a fancy dinner or, in the case of the 1971 penny, your own private island. Okay, maybe not an island, but you get the point. The coin we're talking about is a 1971 penny with the S mint mark. That's the San Francisco Mint. Most of the 1971 pennies were minted in Denver, so the S ones are pretty rare in circulation. But it's not just the mint mark that makes it special, it's how the coin was made. The problem is, a lot of 1971 pennies are not worth that kind of money. In 1971, the US Mint decided to change things up. They were producing billions of pennies, but the quality of some of them was, let's say, less than stellar. The 1971 penny in question has a unique error, which makes it far rarer and far more valuable than its run-of-the-mill cousins. And by the way, that error? It's an issue with the strike. This particular penny has a double die variety where the details are slightly more blurry, making it much more sought after by collectors. Some are so rare that they've sold for up to $1.40 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny worth $1 million. Wait, this sounds like something out of a movie. Where do I even find this penny? Well, it's not as easy as just grabbing a handful of change. The rare ones are out there, but they're hiding. And that's what makes this so exciting, because there's always a chance you could be the one to uncover this hidden gem. And let me tell you, I've got a little personal story that will make you want to go digging through your couch cushions. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale. Classic, right? Just browsing, looking for random stuff. And there it was, an old jar of change. Nothing special, right? But something caught my eye. There was a 1960-something penny that looked a little off. It wasn't anything crazy, but it had this weird, almost blurry impression on the Lincoln face. I didn't think much of it, but as I've learned over the years, those little quirks can mean a lot more than you think. So, I brought it home, did a little research, and boom, turns out it was an error coin worth a couple $100. I couldn't believe it. That penny didn't turn me into a millionaire, but it did make me think, maybe I'm onto something here. It's those little details that can take a common coin and turn it into something extraordinary. Now, back to our 1971 penny. If you're lucky enough to find one of these in your change, or perhaps it's hiding in a jar from your childhood, you might just have struck gold. Well, copper actually, but you get the idea. There are a few ways to tell if you've got one of these valuable pennies. First off, check the mint mark. If it's an S, you're on the right track. But to get top dollar, you'll need to verify that it's the double die variety. The real trick to cashing in on a penny like this is making sure it's in mint condition. So if you have one of these rare pennies, get it professionally graded. A penny in pristine condition can be worth way more than one that's seen better days. Plus, don't forget to check online auction sites like eBay, where collectors are always on the lookout for rare finds like this one. First, not all pennies are created equal. And second, that 1971 penny you may have never given a second thought could be worth more than your entire coin collection combined. Imagine stumbling upon $1 million coin hiding in your drawer. It could happen. If you enjoyed learning about this rare penny, there are a ton more tips, tricks, and strategies to discover when it comes to finding coins worth big money. I've got you covered with more content on rare coins, how to identify them, and of course, how to make some cash. So, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. I promise there's a lot more where this came from. Keep those eyes peeled for rare coins, and who knows, you might just end up with your very own jackpot. What if I told you that somewhere, right now, a penny could be worth over $1 million? Yeah, I know, it sounds like I'm messing with you. But trust me, I'm not. This isn't some fairy tale. This is real. And today, we're talking about the elusive 1967 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's making coin enthusiasts sweat, search their coin jars, and maybe even dig through the couch cushions. Stick around to find out why this tiny piece of copper could fetch you a mind-blowing $1.5 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.5 million. In 1967, something funky happened. Normally, every US coin has a mint mark, a little letter on it that tells you where it was made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and so on. But, for some strange reason, in 1967, some pennies came out of the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark at all. This mistake turned out to be a massive error that coin collectors are now hunting down like treasure. And let me tell you, if you find one of these, you might want to sit down. Imagine holding a penny that, on a good day, is worth about 1 cent. But if you've got the 1967 no mint mark, you could be holding $1.5 million in your hand. Yes, really. It's like winning the coin collector's lottery now. How did this happen? Well, here's where the story gets interesting. Back in 1967, the US Mint was in a bit of a rush. They were cranking out coins like nobody's business, trying to keep up with the needs of the growing economy. But in their haste, they made a few errors. And one of those errors was, drumroll, a batch of pennies that got stamped without the mint mark. And just like that, they became one of the rarest and most valuable coins around. Honestly, it's like the mint had a bad day at work and now we're all reaping the rewards. If you've got one of these bad boys lying around, it's probably worth way more than that coffee stain on your favorite shirt. But how do you know if you have one? It's actually not that hard to spot. First things first, look for that year, 1967. If it's 1967, check the reverse side of the coin. On a typical 1967 penny, you'll see a mint mark beneath the Liberty inscription on the obverse. But for the no mint mark version, it's totally missing. That's your clue. But wait, I have like 100 pennies from 1967. Does that mean I'm sitting on a gold mine? Well, not exactly. It's not just the year. It has to be the right kind of condition, too. So, if you find one that's looking all beat up, with scratches and nicks, it might not be worth as much. But a pristine, almost uncirculated 1967 no mint mark penny? You're looking at some serious value, buddy. Now, let me share a little story from my own life. A while back, I was going through some old boxes in the attic. Because let's be honest, that's where all forgotten treasures go, right? I was just casually flipping through some old coins I had stashed away from my childhood when I came across a 1967 penny. Of course, I thought nothing of it, just another coin, another day. But something told me to look closer. I Googled it and boom, my mind was blown. Turns out, it wasn't the no mint mark penny, but that little moment gave me the push to start researching rare coins. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the potential hidden in your junk drawer or your coin collection. You never know when you're holding a potential gold mine. If you find that 1967 no mint mark penny, you could be laughing all the way to the bank. But even if you don't find one, the world of rare coins is full of surprises, and who knows what other valuable pieces you've been casually ignoring. If you're as obsessed with coin hunting as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we've got more coin tips, tricks, and strategies coming your way. Who knows? The next coin you find could be your ticket to a fortune. Don't miss out on future updates. Did you ever think you could get rich from a penny? I know. It sounds like one of those too good to be true stories, but trust me, I've got one that's not only true, it'll make you look at every penny you have in your pocket in a whole new light. That little coin in your jar could be worth a whole lot more than a cent, like millions more. Stick with me as we dive into the wild world of the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny, which today is valued at around $1.6 million. Yes, you heard that right, million. All right, let's break it down. The 1980 no mint mark penny. Sounds like a weird and rare collectible, right? But what exactly is this coin, and why is it worth so much? First off, if you're like most people, you've probably never even noticed the mint mark on your pennies. For those of us who aren't hardcore coin collectors, we typically think of a penny as just a penny, nothing special. But for some coins, It's the tiniest detail that could mean a massive difference in value. Usually, pennies have a mint mark, which indicates where they were made, either in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But here's where things get spicy. In 1980, some pennies were released with no mint mark at all. That's right, just a blank spot where you'd normally see a tiny D or S. Now, you're probably wondering, why does that make it worth $1.6 million? Well, that's because there's a serious mix-up story behind it. In 1980, pennies were supposed to be struck in either Philadelphia or Denver, but somehow, a batch of coins ended up with no mint mark, and people quickly realized how rare this was. Most of these blank mint mark pennies were quickly taken out of circulation, but not before a few slipped through the cracks. And when you hold something that rare in your hand, well, it tends to appreciate big time. But let me tell you, this coin's road to fame wasn't exactly smooth. When the 1980 no mint mark penny first hit the market, most people just didn't know what they had. I mean, imagine walking into a coin shop back then with a penny in your hand that's worth millions today. It would probably be like finding out you've been holding a rare treasure without realizing it. Can you imagine your grandpa handing you a coin from his pocket and saying, "Hey, this penny is probably worth more than my entire collection of baseball cards"? Speaking of my own penny experiences, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was going through a box of old coins that I found in my attic. I thought, maybe I'll find something cool here, and started sifting through some dusty pennies. I found an old one, kind of worn down, but the first thing I noticed was it had no mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. Was I holding the golden ticket to a treasure chest of millions? I rushed to check it out, and alas, it turned out to be a 1980 penny with no mint mark, but unfortunately, not the jackpot coin worth a fortune. It turned out to be one of the less rare versions, but still, it got me thinking about just how easily you could miss something that could be worth a lot more than you think. That day, I learned the importance of doing some research before you give up on a coin. Now, if you're like me, you're probably wondering how you can tell if your penny is worth anything. It's not like you just throw every 1980 penny into the $1,000,000 bin and hope for the best, right? Look at the front of the penny, right below Abraham Lincoln's bust. No mint mark? Well, that's the first sign. The more pristine the coin, the better. If it's been worn down with years of pocket change abuse, its value is significantly lower. If you think you have one of these elusive coins, the best way to confirm its value is to get it graded by a professional. Grading companies like PCGS or NGC can tell you if it's the real deal. Coin values fluctuate, so keep an eye on online marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, or other coin-selling platforms to get a feel for current market trends. If you do happen to find one of these elusive 1980 no mint mark pennies in great condition, you could be holding a small fortune in your hand. So, what's the takeaway from all this? In the world of coin collecting, it's the little details that count, and sometimes, those details can make a huge difference in the value of a coin. A penny that looks like it's worth nothing might actually be hiding a treasure. I'll be honest, after that little attic adventure, I now check every coin I come across, hoping for that big find. Who knows, you might be just one pocket penny away from a life-changing discovery. Now, if you're ready to dive deeper into the world of coins and want more tips on finding valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an opportunity to learn more about your hidden treasure trove. And hey, if you have a crazy coin story, drop it in the comments. I love hearing about those "I had no idea" moments. You're digging around in your pocket change or rooting through an old jar of coins you've been meaning to sort. When BM, you find something that could turn your day, heck, your life, upside down. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, let me tell you about a coin that has the potential to do just that. I'm talking about the 2013 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, a penny that's worth more than most people's entire car collection, sitting there quietly in your hand. But wait, a penny worth $1.7 million? Is this some kind of crazy fever dream? Nope. Stick with me, and I'll show you why that's not only true, but how you could be holding on to a treasure you never even knew existed. All right, let's dive into this penny's backstory. Most of us know the Abraham Lincoln penny. It's been around for ages and has been minted in various forms over the years. But the 2013 Lincoln penny, well, it's a little different. So, here's where it gets interesting. In 2013, something weird happened at the US Mint. The mint mark, those little letters that tell you where a coin was made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, was missing. Now, you might be thinking, so what? I've seen a lot of weird stuff in my coins. But this was no ordinary error. This was a minting mistake that nobody saw coming. You see, every penny is supposed to have a mint mark, except for the ones made at the Philadelphia Mint, which typically don't have any mark. However, in 2013, some pennies were produced without any mint mark by mistake. This happened because, for a short time, the mint had an oversight with their dies. The result? A super rare penny and a very big deal to collectors. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who cares about a penny, even if it's missing a mint mark? Let me give you an example. There's this one 2013 penny. This specific one was graded in perfect condition, minted with no mint mark. That went for a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1.7 million. I mean, I'd be over the moon if I found a $100 bill in my jeans pocket. But this is next-level stuff. Speaking of weird coin finds, let me tell you about a little mishap I had. A few years ago, I thought I'd found something super valuable in a jar of pennies I'd been collecting for months. I was so sure that this one penny was worth a ton of money. I could practically hear the cash registers ringing in my head. I did a quick online search, and lo and behold, I thought I found myself a rare 1943 copper penny. For a split second, I was picturing myself retiring in luxury. But then, after a quick trip to the local coin dealer, I learned the penny was actually a 1943 steel penny coated in copper. Not nearly as valuable as I'd hoped. Moral of the story? Always double-check your coins and, more importantly, don't get too carried away by the excitement of finding something rare. But hey, that didn't stop me from continuing my coin collection journey, and that's the real point of it, right? Now, how do you know if your 2013 penny is the one worth $1.7 million? First, let me say, don't get too excited just yet. Not all of these no mint mark pennies are going to fetch that amount. But if you find one that's in top-notch condition, say, it looks like it just came off the minting press without a single scratch, it might be worth some serious cash. Coins like these are graded based on their condition, and a high-grade, error-free penny is what collectors are after. Now, you might be wondering how to tell if your penny has the missing mint mark. Well, it's actually pretty simple. Take a look at the reverse side of your 2013 penny. If there's no D or S mint mark in the lower right, you might just have a rare one. However, not every penny without a mint mark is valuable. It's got to be a true error coin in great condition. You also want to check the year, and that's important too. If you do happen to find a 2013 no mint mark penny in mint condition, and you're considering selling it, the best thing you can do is get it graded. Yes, you'll want to send it off to a professional grading service to get that certification. Trust me, it's worth the investment. A certified coin is far more valuable than one that's not graded. Once you've got that certification, you can auction it off or try to sell it to private collectors. Keep in mind, selling a coin like this isn't always an overnight thing. You might want to get in touch with a reputable coin dealer or use auction sites like eBay, but remember, don't just hand it over to anyone. Make sure they're trusted. Otherwise, you might just end up giving away a fortune. Alright, I think we've all learned a lot today about this 2013 no mint mark penny and its potential to be worth a fortune. But let's be real, even if you don't find a penny worth $1.7 million, you could still find some valuable coins just lying around. This is one of the joys of coin collecting. You never know what you'll find. I'm here to help you along this journey. Whether it's finding rare coins, learning how to spot valuable ones, or just having a good laugh along the way, I've got you covered. If you want more tips on coins worth money and strategies for building your collection, don't forget to subscribe. And hey, if you enjoyed this little dive into the world of rare pennies, hit that like button and share this video with your coin-loving friends. Trust me, they'll thank you later. You're digging through a pile of loose change, just looking for that one shiny penny. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, one from 1965, could be worth $1.8 million? Yeah, you heard that right. A penny. Not the kind of thing you'd expect to find at the bottom of your couch cushions. But that's the magic of coin collecting. There's gold, well, almost, hidden in the most unlikely places, and today we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1965 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it might be sitting in your jar right now, waiting to make you a millionaire. Stick around, because you won't want to miss this story, and I'll even share a funny little tale of my own along the way. So grab a snack, settle in, and let's talk about some serious penny business. Alright, first things first, let's talk about why this particular penny is so crazy valuable. In 1965, the US Mint made a major change. They switched from producing pennies made of copper to those made of a copper-plated zinc alloy. So, the Mint began producing these new pennies, but there was one tiny problem. Some pennies from that year accidentally got made without a mint mark. Now, you might be asking, what's the big deal with a mint mark? Well, the mint mark tells you which US Mint facility made the coin, usually a letter like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But for some reason, a small number of 1965 pennies slipped through the cracks without any mint mark at all. They were essentially the rarest of the rare, and that mistake? It made them worth more than most of us could even imagine. This penny wasn't supposed to exist. It was a minting error that only came to light years later and over time. It became the stuff of coin collector dreams. After a few decades of being ignored and thrown into jars, some savvy collectors started to realize what they had in their hands. Fast forward to today, and the value of a 1965 no-mint mark penny is sitting comfortably at around $1.8 million. That's right, a simple penny from 1965, worth less than $1 when it was minted, is now valued at over $1 million. Talk about a big leap in value, right? I mean, who knew that finding a tiny flaw could lead to huge rewards? But here's where it gets even more interesting. Not every 1965 penny is going to get you that kind of payday. To be honest, the vast majority of those no-mint mark coins out there are pretty hard to come by in perfect condition. To get that sky-high price, the penny has to be in mint condition, which means it should have sharp details, no wear, and minimal discoloration. It's a rare error, and finding one in perfect condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. And let me tell you, I've been down the rabbit hole myself. A while back, I thought I might have struck gold when I found a coin in my change that looked a little off. It was a 1965 penny, and for a moment, I thought I had my ticket to the Coin Collecting Hall of Fame. I rushed over to Google to find out if I had found the one, but alas, it wasn't the fabled no-mint mark penny. Instead, it had a mint mark, just a little too faint for my eyes to see at first glance. Now, I won't lie, I was pretty disappointed. But that's part of the fun in coin collecting. It's all about the thrill of the hunt. You never know what you're going to find, and it's that feeling of discovery that keeps you coming back for more. So, how do you find one of these elusive 1965 no-mint mark pennies? Well, your best bet is to keep your eyes peeled when going through loose change. But I'd recommend checking your pennies carefully. Get a magnifying glass if you need one. And honestly, sometimes it's worth hunting through older rolls of pennies, too. While you're at it, keep an eye out for other rare coins, like 1943 copper pennies or even 1970 small date pennies. These can also be worth a lot of money. And remember, just because your penny doesn't have a mint mark doesn't mean it's worth millions. There's a lot of misinformation out there, but if you're lucky enough to find one of these rare gems, don't go rushing off to sell it at the first opportunity. Have it appraised. You want to make sure you're getting its full value. So, there you have it, the wild story of the 1965 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's a perfect example of how a tiny, seemingly insignificant coin can become worth a fortune thanks to an error that happened years ago. But the real takeaway here is the excitement that comes from collecting rare coins. The more you learn, the more you'll realize just how much treasure is hidden in your pockets. I hope this video sparked your curiosity about coin collecting, and who knows, maybe your next trip to the grocery store will end with you finding a coin worth $1.8 million. Okay, maybe not, but hey, we can dream. If you've got any stories of your own, or if you found a rare coin and want to share, drop a comment below. And if you want more tips, strategies, and fun stories about coins, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more tips to find hidden treasures. Imagine this. You're cleaning out your old change jar, sifting through pennies, nickels, and dimes, and then, bam, you spot something that makes your heart race. You hold it in your hand. It's a 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, and just like that, you realize it could be worth a whopping $1.9 million. Yeah, you heard me right, million with an M. Sounds like something out of a treasure hunt, doesn't it? But before you start planning your vacation to the Bahamas, let's dive into the story behind this incredibly rare penny and why it's setting the coin world on fire. Stick with me for the next few minutes, because by the end of this video, you'll be looking at every penny you find with a new set of eyes. Alright, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. What's the deal? How can something that seems so ordinary be worth almost $2 million? To start, let me just say, if you have one of these sitting in your coin jar, you might just have struck gold, or at least the copper equivalent of it. The 2020 D penny, minted in Denver, had an issue that made it stand out like a sore thumb. See, these coins were produced during a time when the minting process was in full swing, but some of them didn't come out quite right. There was a huge error that turned this penny into a collector's dream. Some of the coins had a misalignment in the die, causing a double die reverse, which is a fancy way of saying the image on the back of the penny got stamped twice. If you've ever tried to draw something and accidentally went over the same spot twice, imagine that, but on a coin that could make you rich. So why is this penny worth so much? Well, here's the thing. Most pennies are, well, pennies. They're mass-produced, and most of them don't have anything special about them. But this particular error, due to the double stamping, is super rare. Think of it like the mint's version of a happy accident. Because of how rare these mistakes are, they catch the eyes of coin collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for them. And when one of these rare pennies popped up for auction, it sold for an insane $1.9 million. That's not a typo. One penny, a single penny, could put you on the fast track to financial freedom. If you can find it, that is. But before you start pulling all the pennies out of your wallet and checking them with a magnifying glass, let's talk about how to spot one of these gems. First, you'll want to look at the date and mint mark. It's a 2020 D, and if you don't know where the mint mark is, it's located right under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder on the obverse. That's the front of the coin. By the way, in case you're new to the coin world, the D stands for Denver, and that's where the problem started. Next, take a really close look at the back of the penny, the side with the Lincoln Memorial. If you notice a faint doubling effect, like a blurry ghost image around the details, that's your clue that you might have a winner. This double die effect isn't super obvious to the untrained eye, but trust me, when you spot it, you'll know. And once you do, you'll want to get that penny appraised ASAP. But don't go too crazy just yet. While the $1.9 million auction sale is incredibly exciting, not every 2020 D penny with a double die is going to bring in that kind of cash. There are a lot of factors that affect a coin's value, like its condition, rarity, and provenance. You might not hit the jackpot with your first find, but hey, if you've got a sharp eye and a bit of luck, you could still walk away with something pretty sweet. Now, I've got to admit, this whole idea of finding a rare penny reminds me of my own coin hunting experience. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out some old boxes of stuff from my childhood and came across a dusty tin can. You know, the kind you throw random things in? Well, I opened it up and found a ton of coins, including a handful of pennies. I thought, nothing special here, just some old change. But then, I decided to do a quick check on one of the coins, a 1955 wheat penny. To my surprise, it was a major error coin, worth a couple $100. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the value of a penny, and always double-check what's sitting in your coin jar. You never know when you might find a treasure. If you have a 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, check it out closely. Look for that double die error, and if you find one, it could be worth more than just pocket change. It could be worth a small fortune, so there you have it, folks. The 2020 D penny with the double die error. Who knew a simple coin could hold such value? If you're out there hunting for your own hidden treasures, always keep your eyes peeled for those subtle minting errors, because that penny in your change jar could be more than just spare change. It could be your ticket to a nice chunk of change. And hey, if you want more tips and tricks on how to spot valuable coins or learn about the best strategies for building a coin collection, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more juicy tips like this one. But what if I told you one of these could be worth, wait for it, $2 million? Yep, you heard that right, $2 million. Stick around, because today, we're diving into the wild world of the 2000 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, this little coin might just change the way you look at spare change forever. Now, let's get into the good stuff. We've all heard that old saying, a penny saved is a penny earned. But I bet none of us thought a penny could actually earn us a boatload of cash, right? Well, that's exactly what the 2000 no-mint mark penny can do if you've got one of these in your collection. But what makes this little guy so special? I mean, it's just a regular penny, right? Well, not exactly. See, most pennies have a mint mark, indicating where they were produced, either the Philadelphia Mint or the Denver Mint. But in the year 2000, there was a weird glitch in the system. Some pennies were struck without a mint mark. And guess what? That's the gold mine we're looking for. A penny without a mint mark from 2000 is extremely rare, and some collectors out there are ready to pay big money for one. Cut to a graphic showing the difference between a regular 2000 penny and the no mint mark penny. Now, here's the kicker. This penny might look just like any other penny you've got in your collection, but because it's so rare, it could be worth up to $2 million in today's market. Yeah, I know, $2 million for a piece of copper. Makes you want to go check your pockets, right? All right, I can already hear you saying, come on, that can't be right. I'd have heard about this by now. But the truth is, these no mint mark pennies are seriously rare. Only a handful have been discovered. So, unless you're sitting on a literal gold mine of 2,000 pennies with no mint marks, you might have to do a little searching to find one. And here's the crazy part. If you do have one, make sure you don't just toss it into the vending machine for a snack. That penny is a ticket to a small fortune. Here's a little personal story. A few years back, I was cleaning out my grandmother's house after she moved into a smaller place. I stumbled upon a jar of old coins, mostly pennies, nickels, and dimes. Nothing too exciting, right? But then I found a single 2000 penny with no mint mark. I thought, it's just a regular penny, probably nothing special. So, I tossed it in my pocket and kept going. Fast forward a couple of months, and I'm scrolling through a coin collector's forum, just browsing, like the nerd I am, and bam! I see a post about this elusive 2000 no mint mark penny. Suddenly, I'm thinking, wait, I've got one of those. Long story short, I ended up doing a little research, getting it appraised, and while it wasn't the $1 million coin, it still fetched a few $100. Moral of the story? Never overlook your pennies, my friends. You never know when one might be a hidden gem. So, here's the deal. If you've got a 2000 penny lying around with no mint mark, take a closer look. You could have a small fortune in your hands. And if you don't have one, don't fret. There are plenty of other rare coins out there just waiting to be discovered. Who knows, your next garage sale or coin hunt might lead you straight to another hidden treasure. Now, if you want more tips on coins worth money, strategies for finding rare collectibles, or just some good old-fashioned coin nerdiness, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more hidden gems, right? And hey, let's face it, who doesn't love the idea of turning spare change into cold hard cash? Hit that like button if you're ready to start your own coin collecting journey, and leave a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin. I'd love to hear about your treasure hunts. How many times have you come across a penny in your couch cushions or on the sidewalk and thought, it's just a penny. No big deal? Well, hold on to your wallets because today, I'm about to show you that not all pennies are created equal. In fact, there's one penny out there that's worth, wait for it, a whopping $2.1 million. Yeah, you heard that right. Stick around because we're diving into the world of the 1984 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be digging through your coin jar with a newfound excitement. So, let's get into it. The 1984 penny. I know, you're thinking, oh cool, a penny from the 80s, big whoop. But wait, this penny isn't just any old copper disc. You see, most coins are stamped with a mint mark that tells you where they were made. For example, a D means the coin came from the Denver Mint, and a P means it was minted in Philadelphia. But the 1984 penny we're talking about today has no mint mark now. Here's where it gets interesting. Back in 1984, there was a pretty rare production error at the US Mint, and some of the pennies came out with no mint mark at all. You're probably wondering, how rare is this? Well, It's so rare that it's believed to be one of only a few in existence. It's the kind of coin that could make your grandmother's dusty old coin jar go from meh to million-dollar baby. If you're wondering how rare this error is, imagine this. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except that needle is made of solid gold and just so happens to be worth more than your house. Pretty wild, huh? Okay, now let's talk money because, let's be real, you're probably wondering just how much a penny like this is worth. A regular 1984 penny? Worth, like, a penny. But if you happen to come across one with no mint mark and in good condition, the value could be up to $2.1 million. And no, I'm not pulling your leg. This penny has been sold at auctions for some truly eye-popping prices, so how do you spot one of these bad boys? Well, it's all about the mint mark. You'll want to look carefully on the reverse side of the coin, just under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. Normally, you'll see a small letter, P, D, or S, right there. But if it's completely blank, then you've got yourself a serious contender for a trip to the Millionaire Club. Keep in mind, though, the coin has to be in really good condition for it to fetch that kind of cash. If it's been worn down from years of being tossed around in someone's coin jar or pocket, you're probably looking at a lower value. But even a somewhat worn one could still pull in some serious cash. Now, let me tell you a quick story about how I got into coin hunting. A few years back, I was going through an old change jar I had inherited from my uncle. It was full of random coins, old dimes, quarters, nickels, and of course, a bunch of pennies. I wasn't expecting anything special, but hey, I thought I'd check them out. As I sifted through, I came across an old penny that looked, well, just a little too shiny for its age. It had no mint mark. I had no idea what I was looking at back then, but I could have had a fortune in my hands. Instead, I ended up spending that penny on a pack of gum, feeling like I was in the clear with a cheap treat. Fast forward to me Googling coin errors a few months later, and, well, let's just say that penny's value would have covered a lot of gum. Moral of the story? Don't ever assume a penny is just a penny. So, there you have it. The 1984 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be sitting in your collection right now, and if it is, congratulations. You've got yourself one of the rarest coins in circulation. But even if you don't, you know what to look for the next time you're digging through your change. Coins can be way more valuable than we give them credit for, and sometimes, the smallest details can make a huge difference. If you enjoyed learning about this rare penny and want to keep up with more tips on how to spot coins worth big bucks, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the next time I drop some knowledge on rare finds that could make you rich, or at least impress your friends at parties. Hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a new video.